on one of my favorite, greatest industry to ever come around, still the greatest industry, a safe industry that makes a world tick, oil and gas industry. We're honored to have President Mike Moncla, Louisiana Gas Association. Anyway, Mike, how you doing? Oil and Gas Association.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me this
morning.
Oh,
no. I told Brandon coming in sometime when I don't call you enough. You were making some comments about some stuff, and I said, let me call Mike and see if I can get him on. Of course, oil and gas is what the world needs. We're going to need it. We need it now. We needed it yesterday. We're going to need it 50, 100 years from now. It's cleaner. It's the best thing that ever happened to the world, best thing ever happened to the United States, and it's not destroying the planet. It ain't even touching the planet. The lies that continue. And I saw, well, we're going to lose some more jobs in the years to come, and I'm just shaking my head on it. I just want to get your thoughts on that because, you can't make stuff without oil and gas. That's just big blunt.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. I was called last week on an article that came out from Dr. David Dismukes with LSU Center for Energy Studies, and we work really closely with those guys, and we support them. They've got great data that we use often, and they call us for data as well. But I think he was making a statement that there's going to be a shift in oil and gas to the renewables and that sort of thing. And I don't disagree with it, but I don't think it's going to be to the scale he believes. I mean, the little guys that are out there producing oil and gas and drilling wells in Louisiana today aren't going away. I mean, they're going to continue to do what they do. And, certainly if oil stays at that $80 to $100 range next year, they may be busier than they were this year. So to say that it's going to decline, I don't see that. Now, will there be an increase in some of the green stuff? Sure. I mean, because they're throwing money at it.
Yeah.
And that's
well, let me stop right there, Mike. Because I wanted to go there anyway, and you went there, and I'm glad you did. But I'm just going to stop you for a second. Without federal money, nobody's doing this green crazy. I call it crazy. I think it's nuts to convince people we're running the planet. Then people are going to make a profit on us running the planet. So they had to throw that narrative at it before they came back with this one. Would anybody be doing this if it wouldn't be so much federal money roaming around out there in the United States right now?
I don't think so.
I don't think at all.
It's got to have it's got to have incentives to make it worthwhile. I mean, offshore wind. I mean, we're all for that. We're going to have a lot of service industry companies that are going to be able to make money there and provide services. So we're not against all that stuff, but at some point it's got to make money on its own. It can't. It can't just continue to get government money to stay.
Mike, it can't survive. So listen, years ago, and I know you probably remember this, they were giving subsidies to solar panels here. And people were putting them on their homes, and the federal and the state government both had plans, all federal money, of course. And all of a sudden that went away. And I had a guy running advertisement with solar. I didn't mind if he did. He ran statewide. He's gone now. You know why he's gone? Because they quit having subsidies. They quit having the federal government, the state government sending people money to them. So it went away. It totally went away. It may come back now because there's trillions out there, but it went away. So it can't survive without federal money and being forced this on the American people.
Yeah. And there was an article a while back where Shell came out and said that, they were going to put, X amount of dollars into, green projects and but that their fossil fuel side was going to end up paying for all those projects because they weren't going to make money on their own for a while. So, if ever, in my opinion, but, that their fossil fuel side of their business was going to have to, basically subsidize the losses on their green stuff.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I see where a few, and me and you talked a little bit off the air. I think he said there's 869 companies or something like that, oil and gas type companies that work just in Louisiana. And you said there's a few, the big boys, because they have so much money, they can go play with this green crap, I call it. But the bottom line is they're only doing it because there's tax credits out there, money coming in. Am I correct by saying that? They don't really believe they're saving the planet, do they?
Yeah, I can't answer that, for them. I mean, I know that, the bigger companies are looking at, different kind of projects and trying to diversify their portfolios. I don't know what makes them tick, why they want to do that, but
Mike, are they being forced to? Are they really being forced to by social media and the pressure of the media and the politicians? I'm just curious. Are they really being forced to? Because they used to fight this and fight it and fight it and fight it. Now we're giving in, and that's my problem with it.
Well, no, but what's happened over the past several years is a lot of these boards of these big companies have become, liberal.
Yeah, more woke.
They have bought into it. So when you have your board telling you what to do, I don't think the engineers at all these big companies believe in everything that's being pushed down their throat, but they're being paid to do a job, so they're having to do that. But no, I don't think that this is, without the subsidies, without, these future carbon credits that they can sell and all that stuff, I think it's going to be very, very tough for those green kind of energies to really show that they can be profitable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mike Moncla, my special guest, and of course, president of Louisiana Gas Association. Mike, my concern is, though, the people that used to fight, which I think is the absolutely biggest lie I've ever seen in my life, that we're destroying the planet. And without oil and gas, we can't eat. We can't send products across the country. We can't do anything without oil and gas. We can't fight wars. We can't build cars, electric cars, all that craziness that they're making us go. These companies are giving in, and I do agree with you. A lot of board people, these young people who watch Captain Planet and listen to all this crap in school for years, they got to believe it. But on the flip side, the money that's out there in this right now seems to be what's driving it.
There's no question. There's a lot of money out there. And people are jumping in. And look, the carbon capture thing, there's a lot of companies that want to continue pushing the envelope and doing better and better on emissions. And you know what? I'm not really against that. The United States has done more than any other country in the world at cutting emissions. And we've done it by grades of gasoline and diesel. We've done it by cars shutting themselves off at lights. We've done it by coal plants going to natural gas. We've done all kinds of things. So in my mind, the carbon capture space is just another step to do better at letting pollutants out into the air. And I'm fine with that. And if it works, then great. I mean, I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. What makes you think that's going to work, sticking something in the ground? I'm just kind of curious. Where do you get that's going to be good when we – I think the whole thing's crazy, though. See, I think it's born of total ignorance. Now, once again, the carbon capture, that's all about money, too. That's all about federal money coming in to help build that as well.
Sure. It certainly is. There's going to be incentives for it and tax credits and all kinds of stuff that go with it. So that's for sure.
Well, Mike, let me ask you a question. It's a number that's thrown out to me, and tell me if you think this is close. The number I got was, we got a lot of people that live here. I was visiting with somebody the other day that was working on some advertisement with me. And they live here, but all their work is out of Louisiana. And the number I got was we had about 38,000 people that work in oil and gas industry. They live here, but they really work in other states. Is that number about right? Because we just don't, with the lawsuits and all that stuff that y'all still battling, is that number about right?
I really don't know, man. I mean, I can tell you that, my family business, we're running 24 rigs and only 8 of those in Louisiana. So the others are in, Mississippi. We have an office in Laurel. We have an office in South Texas, in LaGrange, and West Texas, in Seminole. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we live in Lafayette. We love Louisiana. We like to eat crawfish. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, if you look at the percentage of our rigs, we're certainly more in other states than we are in Louisiana. And I also represent Drill Tech, which is a directional drilling company, MWD, and probably 95% of our business at Drill Tech is in Texas, not Louisiana.
Let me take a quick break. Come back, just do a real short segment to wrap up with you. Mike Moncla.
Sure.
Thank you so much, sir. President of Louisiana Gas Association. We'll take a break. Be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James Retirement Hotline. Mr. Mike Moncla, President of the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. We appreciate him spending a few minutes with us today and visiting about what's going on. And, yeah, Mike, my frustrations are your frustrations of what I'm seeing people buying into is what frustrates me, the whole big picture. Let me take a call for you. Let's go to Joy in Abbeville. Question or comment from Mr. Moncla.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I appreciate you taking my call. I got grandkids that when you ask them about what plants and animals, and you ask them, what do plants do for us? They make oxygen from CO2. They absorb carbon doing photosynthesis. Now, these kids are homeschooled, okay? They're not being indoctrinated in the public school system. So they understand without CO2, plants die. Without plants, no more oxygen. So it's like the bullfrog and the big bird that's swallowing him. The bullfrog's holding his neck so he can't swallow him anymore. We're going to kill ourselves with lack of oxygen. They've indoctrinated the youngsters of this country into thinking we're bad. We got some of the cleanest air and water on the face of the planet here. We got to quit this insanity that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike, how about it? It is true what he's saying.
Put
all that in the ground for what reason?
Yeah. Well, and look, there's been storage for many, many decades. I mean, seriously. I mean, we work in this Strategic Petroleum Reserve for the Department of Energy. We have the contract, our rig company does. And, all that is oil storage. We also work in gas storage companies. So, I mean, there's been gas and oil stored underground for many decades. And, in my opinion, being in the rig business and working on those storage wells and facilities, a carbon capture project, sure. I mean, we don't want to, bury all the carbon, but I mean, I think getting rid of some of it and storing it, it could always be released too, So I don't have a problem with it. And in fact, I think that the service companies that have been sitting on their hands in South Louisiana and North Louisiana for several years through the downturn, it'll put some people back to work. So I'm for it in that aspect.
I mean, but thank you. But go ahead, Joey. Last question.
It's gonna, if we pull a certain percentage of carbon out of our air, does that not affect the whole planet and the ecosystem? And although we can't, I want to know who's going to go stop up the volcanoes from belching all the gases.
All the oceans, for that matter.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
If we really want to do something big, get some of these people to go jump in the volcanoes to plug it up.
All right. Thank you, Joey. Now, look, I know what you're saying, Mike. I get what you're saying, but, I don't want to lose oil and gas based on a myth that we're going to ruin the planet. The planet can eat us up way before we can eat the planet up. And I know you guys are doing everything you can. What about the jobs in Louisiana? Mike, do you think we'll grow? Do you think there's a chance we'll grow? The lawsuits, how are that still affecting everything y'all trying to do?
Of Louisiana, you got North Louisiana, the Haynesville, is fairly busy. You got South Louisiana, which is pretty slow. We don't really have a shale play that people are jumping into. And then you've got the inland waters market, which the coastal erosion lawsuits has pretty much bankrupted everybody in it. There's one rig drilling in the inland waters right now. There were 20 8 years ago, or 30 if you can include the workovers, from 30 rigs to one. And that market has been killed by coastal lawsuits. And then you got the offshore market, and that's been a fight with feds over the last year, as are we going to have a lease sale or not? Canceling leases. And then, with those four facets, Haynesville, South Louisiana, inland waters, and offshore, there's only one of them that's worth a damn right now, and that's the Haynesville.
Mm-hmm.
So Louisiana certainly, it's a struggle for oil companies and service companies alike. So any kind of opportunity that can keep Louisianians working, I'm for right now.
I understand.
And it just so happens that carbon capture might put some people to work. So in that aspect, I'm for it.
Yeah, I just hate that all y'all got to do so much business out of the state, and I run into so many people that live here that work out of the state, and when we could be used to years ago, and you know this because your family knows it. When oil and gas was busy, we were kind of one of the leaders. We were just one of the leaders. No matter if Texas or anybody else is doing it, we were doing it. It doesn't work that way anymore because of the lawsuits from the governor and them trying to sue themselves to prosperity, but it's really hurt everything. Hey, Mike, real quick, I got to go. Tell people how to get in touch with y'all, learn more about what y'all do.
Oh, man, you can find us at loga.la, and we'd love to hear from you, any kind of comments you might have. We'd love for you to join as well. We're not just oil field companies. We've got CPA firms, law firms, lobbyist groups, service companies, and oil companies. We'd love to have you.
All righty, Mr. Mike Moncla. All right, Mike, listen, always a pleasure. We'll do it again.
Thank you.
All right, we got to take a break. More to come. Moon Griffon Show. Don't go nowhere, folks.